You're listening to
Catholic Sprouts,
the daily podcast for Catholic kids that strives to plant seeds of faith. Hey there, Sprouts. Today is Tuesday, March 15th, 2022. Today is also the feast day of Louis de Marillac, who was a French saint. Now, this week we're talking about the sin of pride, right? Pride means that I think I'm the best. I don't need other people, but I certainly also don't need God. And that is a lie. That is a lie, my friends. We need God. We are good. We are made in the image and likeness of God, but we are not God. And that is where pride gets confused and sinful. So the opposite of pride, the way that we are called to live in virtue, is humility. Humility. Now, humility can be a hard thing to understand. We can sometimes think that it means humiliation. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that we think less of ourselves than we are. For example, if you're like a super talented piano player, being humble doesn't mean you're saying, "Oh, I'm really terrible. I really am a bad player," because that's not true, right? We're very good. Humble is just simply being honest. That's what we need to realize. Being humble means being honest. I'm not exaggerating who I am. And I'm also not falling into the temptation to compare myself to other people. I'm simply talking about who I am with honesty. Now, Jesus is a wonderful example of humility. In many different times throughout his life, he humbles himself out of love, and he shows us how powerful that is. So, of course, the first big act of humility for Jesus happens at his birth, right? And he wasn't born into a palace. He wasn't born the son of a king and a queen. He was born the son of fairly unimportant parents from a really unremarkable place, Nazareth. He was born in a barn, born there with animals. His crib was a feeding trough, right? That is humble. And yet we know that he was a human being. And his mother, Mary, the Blessed Virgin Mary, was this immaculate, wonderful person. So we know he lowered himself, and yet he was there born in a beautiful family. It is true. Now, the next time that we see Jesus humbling himself, well, we see it many, many times, but another powerful example is at the Last Supper. Before they sat down to eat, Jesus got a water basin. He got water and he washed the feet of his disciples, right? And this is super humbling. You need to remember that at the time of Jesus, people's feet were very dirty. They mostly wore sandals. And if you remember, they didn't have, like sewer systems or garbage collectors. Really gross things would be thrown out into the street. Animal dumpings, just gross. So people's feet were filthy. And usually in a household, it was the lowest person, the lowest servant who would go and wash the feet of his master. It was very humbling. And Jesus did this. Now, he's not saying, "Oh, I'm worthless, I'm garbage." He's saying that we love people by serving them, right? We humble ourselves before others, and it is a tremendous act of love. Just this great example. And then, of course, the ultimate example of humility was when he allowed himself to be crucified. So we see over and over again from Jesus that humbling ourselves is a great act of love when we do it from this genuine place. Now, remember, pride can ruin things. So, even if we were going around washing the feet of our family members and we're just thinking to ourselves, "Oh, I'm doing this because I'm better than them. They would never do this for me, but I'm showing them how to be good," right? That's a really yucky thought to have in your head. We need to humble and look at each other with love when we're doing these things. So tomorrow we're going to listen to what Christ says on the cross, and we're going to come with two two big lessons that God offers us as he dies on the cross. But for today, let's just reflect on one of those stories of Jesus humbling himself, either his birth in Nazareth, washing the feet, or his death on the cross, and just really reflect on how beautiful that act of love was, because Christ was willing to humble himself, to lower himself out of love.
That's it for Catholic Sprouts today. We'll be back tomorrow, but until then, continue to grow in your faith and truly sprout into the beautiful creation that God created you to be.
Hey friends, I hope that you are having a beautiful and fruitful Lent. I'd like to invite you to add the Stations of the Cross to your family's Lenten experience, especially during Holy Week. We offer a beautiful family-friendly Stations of the Cross book, which has been very popular. If you would like to grab a copy for your family, we would love for you to do that. Our supplies are limited and we expect to run out. So head on over to the show notes, follow the link, and grab a copy for your family.
This show is a production of the Spoke Street Media Podcast Network. For more great podcasts, visit spokestreet.com.